Welcome to the Maria Liberati Show, where food meets art, travel, and life. So what does food mean to you? Well, my guest this week is LD Sledge, who is a chef and author, and he specializes in Cajun cooking, and that's what his book is all about. And we're going to learn some interesting things about Cajun cooking. Did you know that Cajun food is not just French? It's a delicious blend of Acadian means combination of French and Canadian, Spanish, German, and even Native American and African Caribbean influences. The resourceful early Cajuns made the most of their environment using readily available ingredients right from the bayou. From seafood like crawfish and shrimp to wild greens and spices. Do you know what they call the Holy Trinity? The Holy Trinity is onion, celery, and green bell pepper. This Holy Trinity forms the base of most Cajun dishes, adding savory depth and a really vibrant foundation for spices. The key to rich Cajun stews and gumbo is a dark roux, painstakingly cooked butter and flour to deepen the flavor and color. And beyond the fiery cayenne, there's a complex dance of spices like paprika, thyme, bay leaf, and black pepper that makes Cajun food warm, aromatic, and uniquely flavorful. Jambalaya, gumbo, and etouffee are just a few examples of hearty one-pot meals perfect for sharing and celebrating community. It's more than just food. Crawfish boils are vibrant social gatherings where family and friends gather around steaming pots, peeling crawfish, and telling stories. Have you ever had a crawfish boil? Tell us about it. Or better yet, if you do a crawfish boil, take a picture, hashtag it the Maria Liberati Show, and we'll share it on the website. Many Cajun dishes are meant to be customized at the table with personal preferences, a sprinkle of hot sauce, extra green onions, or a dash of your favorite sauce. Food is central to the Cajun culture, with large gatherings, lively conversation, and an emphasis on enjoying meals together. So my favorite Cajun phrase, and by the way, it's the only Cajun phrase that I know, is actually French, laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. So if you want to impress your guests and make a Cajun meal, learn the phrase, the Cajun phrase, laissez le bon temps rouler, let the good times roll. And if you have any personal experiences with Cajun food or culture, please share them. It's such an interesting culture and such great food. Please share your experiences or recipes or dishes with us. Take a picture and hashtag it the Maria Liberati Show, and we'll share it at themarialiberatyshow.com. Just hashtag it, whatever you have, a photo of a Cajun dish or your favorite recipe, or maybe a get-together of family, friends sharing Cajun food, or a crawfish boil. Hashtag the Maria Liberati Show, and again, we'll share it at themarialiberatyshow.com. Stay tuned for this interesting interview with LD Sledge. So today we have LD Sledge, who is, well, he's very talented. I couldn't nail down exactly how to introduce him. So he's an author, an artist, musician, chef. And today we're having him especially because he wrote a book called Cajun Delectables. And I know a lot of my listeners out there, well, everybody's interested in food and cooking, but Cajun cooking is just so interesting. And the one thing that I loved about this book is that he didn't just share recipes, but he also told us about the history of some of the of Cajun cooking and explained it. Yes. So LD, thank you so much for being here. Tell me, how did you decide to write a book about Cajun cooking?
Well, I lived in South Louisiana I practiced law in Louisiana for 43 years. I was a courtroom lawyer, and I had half of my clients were Cajun, and and half of Louisiana. That is, if you would look at the map of Louisiana, it's like a boot. The whole half of it, except for New Orleans South, is all Cajun. Now, people don't even know about them. And they were my clients. They're the funniest, most liberated people I've ever known. They have no idea what political correctness is. They make jokes about themselves. I just love them. And I wanted people to know about them. And I have eaten so much of this food and had it all my life. And I said, well, let me share some cooking recipes that I like. And I got 100 recipes in here they call it what makes so good it make you slap your mama. And so that's what they say. There's even a slap your mama seasoning. And you have, I just felt bad because these people don't know about it. And they say, oh, those people from New Orleans, or they're this or that. They don't know anything. They're not in New Orleans.
Right.
Anyway, so I decided to combine it. And it's like 200 pages. It's not like your ordinary cookbook. And a friend of mine, Smiley Anders, who's he's written for the paper there for like 40 years. He said, LD Sledge gives us a cookbook that's more than a cookbook. It's a love letter to Louisiana and his native state. So anyway, it is.
Yes.
That's what kind of got me started. And, I can tell you why is it different? I can tell you that.
Yes. Tell us, because not everyone out there knows what is Cajun cooking and what makes it different. What makes something Cajun cooking? Any characteristics of Cajun cooking? Yes, please tell us.
Okay. Now, so many of the Cajun food recipes are soups and stews, like a gumbo.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And so I'm going to tell you about that. But there's a lot of others that are not, like your fish and your meat and your roast and all of those other, and your shrimp and your all of those goodies and stuff. But anyway, the deal about a gumbo and most of those meals like that, they need a thickener. Now, let me tell you about how you can learn about it. Okay. I have a page online. It's called CajunCookingSecrets.com. And I give you about 3, 4, 5 minutes of how they do it. But here's the way to do it. You make a roux, R-O-U-X. It's a thickener.
Yes.
And this thickener is made with a cup of flour and a cup of oil. And what they would do traditionally, they would take it and they would heat it and they would stir it and they would stir it and they would stir it. And it would take a long time for it to get to where they want it. And they want it to be like a golden brown or dark brown. And it sets it up as a thickener, but it also has a nice aroma.
Right.
Now you come to the next stage, which gives you the next layer of flavor. And that's called the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity is onion, bell pepper, and celery. And usually it's about 1 to 3 or something. So you get a couple of onions and a bell pepper and 3 or 4 slops of celery. Chop it up, and then you get some garlic. I say that garlic got religion, and it joined the church and goes with them to the Holy Trinity. Anyway, so what you mix those together and you put those into the roux.
Right.
And now you saute that down until you get them all like the Cajuns say, melt them onions. And you melt the onions. And then after now you've got you got it set up. Now after this, you then go and put your meat in and your stock, your chicken stock or beef stock or whatever you want. Cajuns used to use water. I like stock. It makes it better. And I'm going to give you another secret. Thing is that you can go online to Amazon and buy some roux already made. You don't have to go through that. My son saw me doing that and he said, Daddy, you are a traitor. You're going against the policy. You're supposed to spend all your hour building that roux. No, it'll take just a spoonful and you're about ready to go. But anyway, that's that. And you just cook it for a couple of hours. You ask a Cajun, you say, how you make that? And they'll say, first you make a roux. They'll always say that.
Right.
And then they'll say, and then they'll say, and you cook it down.
Uh-huh.
And that's my logo, cook it down.
Uh-huh. And yeah. I think that, I know you said you can buy the roux on Amazon or something, but I think it's probably better freshly made if you can make it yourself, because I'm sure
but you can mess up too.
Well, that's true, but you should
burn it.
You can, but I think that the beauty of the food is, and the really flavorfulness is, probably you're going to get a better flavor if you do it yourself and just learn how to do it. So is Cajun cooking, or is it Creole? Now, what's the difference between, because isn't there a, Creole cooking in Louisiana also?
Yeah, well, Creole is Louisiana too.
Right.
The definition, see, my book gives you all kind of stuff. And the definition of Creole is different in New Orleans than it is from the other part of the state.
Okay. Yes.
Creole, basically, Creole is the name of someone who was from one country, but now he's born in another country. His parents are from France, but he's born in New Orleans. So he's a Creole.
I see. So that's the distinction. Okay.
And the cooking is different too. But then the Creoles over in Lake Charles, which is on the Texas border, mainly they're like Black and Indian and Spanish, and a combination. They're mainly the Black Creoles over there, and they have a whole different music style. But the Creoles, the distinction between Creole cooking and Cajun cooking is this. Cajun usually likes it a little more spicy. But it's not hot. It's flavorful. And the Creoles have less flavor, less spice.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I have a sneaking suspicion that Creole cooking is a little bit is related to French cooking. They have origins in France. So French cooking, usually it has, herbs, but it's not real spicy, hot and spicy. So maybe that is what has to do with it. So Cajun cooking. So, okay, we did the roux and we do the Holy Trinity and we have all that. So then we're adding in the meat and the broth, and we're making like a gumbo. Is that what you pretty much? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I belong to a group. It's called Artists for a Better World. And right before Christmas, they asked me to do a show. So I did a show, and I showed them how to cook a gumbo, jambalaya, and red beans and rice. And I had pots all over this table, and I finished it, and I said, okay, guys, come on. And there were about 40 people in there. And I should show you a picture of the pots. They're empty. There's nothing left. And you usually serve it on rice,
Right. Yes.
I have a good friend right now that did me a big favor. And so, matter of fact, when I leave here, I'm going to go cook him a gumbo.
There you go. So what's the difference between a gumbo and a jambalaya? Because we have a few more minutes. So what's the difference between?
Well, the gumbo is just like I said, it's a stew.
It's the stew.
Okay. Now, jambalaya is mainly rice and say chicken, and you don't necessarily make a roux. You can, it will help, but it's just mainly like a rice dish. Rice and chicken and a flavorful dish of it. And anyway, it's quite different. It's not a stew or a soup.
Right. Exactly. Wow. It sounds like it's all really, really flavorful. So are these the recipes that you have in the book? Are they recipes did you say they were from your family? It looks like.
Well, in a way, I was raised with a lot of these, and I learned how to cook most of these over my mature life. And
they're traditional recipes then.
Yeah, they're totally traditional. They're exactly traditional. I got a letter last week from a lady I didn't know. She had wound up buying my book, and she had already cooked 4 of them, and her daughter would cook 3 of them, and raving over the recipe.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
that's definitely a
surprised to get it.
book. Yes, definitely. So, LD, tell us. So it's Cajun Delectables by LD Sledge, and where can we get it if people want to get the book?
You can get that on Amazon. Just look under Cajun Cooking, and you'll see it.
Okay.
Cajun Delectables.
Yes, Cajun Delectables. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here, and enjoy your warmer weather. Well, for us on the East Coast, on the far like Northeast, it's warmer weather for us in Florida. And hopefully we'll have you back another time to talk about some of your other very interesting projects. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for listening to the Maria Liberati Show, and thanks to my producer, Britton Roselle, and this week's special guest, Cajun author and chef, LD Sledge. And as always, you can find more recipes, and you can find me at marialiberati.com, themarialiberatyshow.com. You can find videos of these podcasts at our new YouTube channel. It's just called The Maria Liberati Show. Also, you can also find videos on vimeo.com/Maria Liberati. And let's see, you can find me at my Roku channel, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking by Maria Liberati. And you can also find me on Instagram at Maria Liberati, on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati, on Twitter, or X as they call it now. You can find me there at Maria Liberati, on Pinterest at Maria Liberati, and my Gourmand World award-winning books, the Basic Art of Italian Cooking. You can find that book series at Amazon.com, Kindle, and really anywhere books are sold, but you can also find them on the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com. And until next time, peace, love, and pasta.